Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely, and I'm here with, well, y'all know who this is. This is James Proctor, the second member of the Stokely Discs tour team. The first member is Dallas Garber, which is funny because he's not quite on the tour yet, but he's going to be this spring. Did you know? Do you know Dallas?
I don't know if I've ever met him personally, but I've seen him in your videos.
Okay. Well, Dallas is going to be hitting the pro tour at the beginning of 2026, and I want to let James do most of the talking except right here at the beginning, because I would like to, if it's all right, I want to share the story of how we actually connected. But I don't think I've ever told you why we connected the way we did.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Well, I guess you don't. If you don't know what you don't know. So I'm going to share the story, but afterwards I'll let you do most of the talking.
Deal.
So when I came back to the Pro Tour in 2022, I made my debut, re-debut, whatever you call it, at the Las Vegas Challenge, and I shot with James first round.
I remember.
And I was watching James throw, and I was like, "You're on the Pro Tour, right?" And I think you said you actually had a different career.
Yes.
What were you doing?
I was teaching special ed.
He was teaching special ed, which is such an obviously a incredible, noble position. All teachers, obviously, but especially those in any of the special ed departments is even that extra bit of work and maybe an extra fewer thanks. And but I was like, you need to be on tour. I I think I asked you how old you were, and I said you are never going to be in your 20s again. You need to do this now. You like, did I lecture you during the round about it a little bit?
That I don't recall. You might have, or I don't know if it was a conversation mid round or after the round, but yeah,
Yeah, I think I was. I remember just thinking that this is something that was important to me to inject myself into your life
yeah.
uninvited. Um, After that, you told me, I remember at the time you said something like, well, you were thinking about it. And I said, don't think about it, do it. And you said, well, maybe I'm thinking about it. So I set the alarm on my phone. Uh, Once a month, it sent me a reminder that said, bug James Proctor to go on tour. Do you remember getting those messages?
There, it's coming back to me. I'm slowly recalling. Yeah, I
Okay.
kind of had forgotten about that, but
All
I
right.
do remember.
Well, apparently my messages were forgettable. But I just put in my thing that I said I need to message this guy at least once a month and bug him until he goes. And I think I'll go find it and pull him up, maybe pull up a screenshot, because I think on the third or fourth message you were like, "Get off my back! I decided to go on tour," and then I stopped bugging you.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, true story too. But I don't think I ever told you why. So the reason why I messaged you, probably the biggest male influence in my life was my godfather. And my godfather, who was not a religious man, he said that he thought the biggest sin in the world is when somebody wastes God given talent. And all he meant is just that talent that some people have and that other people don't. And the reason he thought this was the biggest sin is that there are between thousands and millions of people out there who, no matter how hard they work, have a ceiling on them because they don't have that thing inside them that was just that one extra thing that was given to them. Now, when you have that extra thing, if you don't put in the work and the time and the effort and the blood, the sweat, you still don't achieve anything. He thought that was a sin because of the million people out there that would give their left arm to be in your position, and now you're wasting that thing everybody else wants to have. So I have, as I've gotten older, taken it upon myself to try to help or try to help, maybe not the right word, but do what I can for the younger players. I've made all the mistakes and had all the successes. And you have that God given talent my godfather spoke of. You're one of a handful of people in the world that has been given this gift. And I thought, as important as what you were doing was, that you would be, and I'm not religious either, but you would be sinning if you didn't take advantage of this and go out there and try to be the best in the world during this small window of time an athlete has, with a whole future in front of you to pursue the career that you've obviously dedicated your life to prior.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt when I saw you that I needed to butt in. So when I tell you that, what do you think?
I mean, I, it's an interesting angle to just kind of look at myself and my disc golf history and to think about how maybe, the sport did come easy to me when I was a kid. I think, recalling like conversations with my dad, when I was 6 or 7, picking up a Frisbee, it kind of did come to me quickly. And, yeah, I think, you're right. If I wanted to be, you know, a basketball player in the NBA, I'm probably in that million people that wish they were in the thousands. That's not naturally gifted to be that basketball player. But in regards to disc golf, I might be one of those smaller percentages. And so, yeah, I mean, looking back at it now, obviously that was 3 years ago. A lot has changed in the last 3 years. I'm very glad to have joined the Pro Tour and to be able to dedicate more time to disc golf. And, obviously last year achieving 2 wins on the Pro Tour is something very special that I'm very proud of and grateful for. And, yeah, I think, there is something to be said about finding something that you're good at, that you kind of love, and then really dedicating all your time to it and just seeing, how much you can accomplish.
Well, yeah, and again, it's not, when I say God-given talent, it doesn't mean that something or anything is handed to you. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Like, I would argue that for every player in the NBA, there are hundreds of players out in the schoolyard that have that level of talent.
Yeah, they're just not 6'10".
No. Even if they're 6'10", I'm saying they don't have that level of. They have that thing inside of them, but most people squander what they have.
Yeah,
The people that make it to the NBA are the ones that delay gratification because they want to work hard. They're the ones who are more disciplined. They're humble enough, as cocky as they might be on the court. They're humble enough to be coachable. They have to do the things that separate themselves from other people that have the talent.
100%.
And so it's not that anything's been gifted to you.
Yeah.
It's that I thought when I saw you throw, I was just mesmerized by the way you controlled your disc.
I appreciate that.
So now, last year, was your first win last year? I thought it was. No, I guess it was just last year.
It's last
You won twice. That was in Sweden.
Sweden and then Maple Hill.
Yeah. So you won in Borås.
Yes.
And I remember that they played a montage afterwards of all the players on the Pro Tour that they interviewed. And they said, which player on the Pro Tour without a win, it's going to be the next to win. And the number of players who said James Proctor was astounding. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
So that meant that you had fans on the Pro Tour that they all saw it too. I'm not the only one that has the sight. They all saw it.
Yeah, that was a pretty special feeling because, I understood what imposter syndrome was. And I had a good 2023, not getting any wins, but like feeling like I belonged. But then it felt like such a huge leap to feel like you could win, right? Like I was like, I could get top 10. I think I had 50% of my tournaments in 2023. I was in the top 10.
50%.
And so, that allowed me to feel like, okay, I belong here, but like feeling like I could win and beat all these guys on any given weekend.
Well, what changed? I mean, like, did you just keep getting top 10s until it fell into your lap, or did you do something different? Like, how did you get past that?
I don't think I did anything different. I think I just got more comfortable in that situation, and I just kind of understood it's all about putting yourself in the position. Like, you can't win the tournament on day 1 or day 2. You just have to be in contention. And then when Sunday comes around, you just have to trust, in yourself that you're good enough and that you can do it. And for me, a lot of that comes down to the putting. And so I told myself, if you can just give yourself a whole bunch of putts, you're going to make most of them. And sometimes that ends up being enough.
Fair enough. Now, Borås was huge.
Yes.
The first win, monkey off the back. By the way, the reason I always ask people how you get over the hump is I was a perennial top 2 finisher in the 90s. There was some gentleman by the name of Mr. Ken Climo who kind of was the gatekeeper on winning tournaments in that era. He kind of won them all.
Yeah.
So I never got really past that hump, and so I'm always interested to know how people did it. And he said, just put yourself in a position, and it happens. Now the monkey's off the back.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, the next tournament, did you feel differently than the tournament before?
The very next tournament that I played?
Yeah.
Yes and no. The next tournament was Krokel. And That's an interesting one for me because I've played it twice now, and I still don't feel like I've figured that course out. And I think a lot of it comes down to I'm a hyzer flip guy, and my release, my natural throw, everything's hyzer flip. And if you've played that course, there's probably 14 holes that are that flex line, that pullover flex line, and that's just not a shot that I'm super comfortable with.
Okay,
And
makes
so,
sense.
that's a frustrating course for me because I feel like I think, my best round out there might be like 6 or 7 under. Like I've never been able to really shred that course and keep it super clean. And, um, I'm throwing shots that I'm uncomfortable with for a lot of those tee shots. And so, yeah, that kind of humbled me back real quick playing that next event. I don't even know if I cashed. I think I had kind of a rough time mentally. Um, and that kind of brought me back down pretty quick.
Okay, so do you think that was a good thing? Do you think that helped you to be humbled right away, or do you think that kind of put a wrench in the works?
I don't think, just hearing be humbled right away. Like, I don't think I got any extra huge set of confidence after that win. Like, I felt like I was the same player that I was the
Okay,
week before. But it did, I think that next week kind of taught me more about the mental side and the mental battle of it, because some weeks you go out there and you got the course dialed and the game feels easy and you're racking up birdies and you're staying away from danger. And other weeks you have no idea what's going to happen and you're just hoping and praying that it goes well. And so
sure.
I think I learned some more mental lessons that week. But yeah, I also remember, just feeling like the same player I was the week before. I just
Okay,
had a 1X next to my name, I guess.
okay. Now fast forward I guess just a couple months. You go to Maple Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Maple Hill, was that considered a major
No, it was a playoff event, so it's like a
playoff
DGPT
event?
plus 4 days.
By the way, if you're confused by the different tiers, I am too, and I'm at the events. But uh, no matter what, at least amongst the players, that tournament is not viewed like others.
Yeah,
That is considered, at least in our hearts, that is a major to us because it's
yes. I think, so we have certain tournaments throughout the year that are 4 day events, and those are either DGPT plus or playoff events, and they play more like a major. All the Elite Series are 3 rounds. And so that one definitely, carries a little bit more weight and has a little bit more significance. It has a ton of history, and it's a pretty big deal at the end of the season.
now. I'm sorry. I know you probably told this story a bunch of times. We're gonna jump forward. Spoiler if you've watched it. Obviously, we're talking about this because you won.
Yeah.
You came very close to throwing the tournament away on hole 18.
Yes.
Can you walk us through that? Because I think it's one of the most memorable moments. No, I mean, I mean, it's no holy shot. But when you make a top 5 list of memorable DGPT moments, like, it's on there. Like, that moment, like, I mean, just the way it unfolded
Yeah.
was like, share, please. What happened on hole 18?
Well, it's funny. I've never wanted to like be super caring about the scores, and so I had no idea what the situation was. I had no idea that Paul was in the clubhouse at 28, I believe. I didn't even know. I knew I had a feeling I was in the lead because the cameras were just right on my face. Um, but I didn't know what the situation was, and so tee shot was the same, and then I was in a place where I didn't have the opportunity to go for it, so my next shot was a layup no matter what, and then I kind of just told myself stick the green. I liked the shot out of my hand. I kind of played it high and wide, forehand with the zone, figuring I knew I couldn't miss short. I let it go. I thought it was good, and it was a foot too long. And so then I'm going to the drop zone, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, if I make it, what do I do? I celebrate, or do I, what happened? What I didn't want to make it and stand there and like look around like an idiot, So I asked my caddy, what happens if I make it? And she said, you win. So I didn't know, if I could miss and still win. I didn't know what the deal was. I just said, okay, go make it. And I made it, and that was it. And then later I find out that, Paul's in the clubhouse at 28, and I made that putt to get him by a stick.
That's actually amazing too, because I mean, we know Paul. He's not the guy that's sitting up there hoping you miss.
Yeah.
Right? That's not the way Paul plays the game.
Yeah.
But if you're in Paul's position and you do miss, it's not like you're mad. You're also like, ooh, the door just opened for me. Assuming you miss this putt, we got a playoff. Like, let's start should I start warming up or should I watch the monitor?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it must have been such a tough position for
Yeah.
Paul to be in. Like,
Yeah. Just the, the excitement level and this and like, oh my gosh, I'm back in.
yeah,
That
no,
would have been wild.
exactly. Well, that, I mean, which is why it's one of the best finish holes in all of disc golf. So you made that shot. There's this iconic photo, which I'm going to be posting in my promoting of Stokely Discs because it's that when you're running up there, that is the best photo.
Yeah.
Um, unbelievable. I mean, I posted it before because you were on the Christmas show and stuff.
Yep.
So now, when you won that one, did that make you feel different? Like it wasn't a fluke that you won. I mean, no one else would have thought it was a fluke, but you said you had imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Did that kind of solidify? Okay, now I'm definitely one of the guys.
A little bit, but it also, I know, I'm not going to be, I'm not in that conversation with, the Gannon and Rick and those guys. Like I'm still a notch below them, but it proved to myself that no matter who signed up for the event, no matter what the course is, because I had never done historically that well at Maple Hill in the past. So, it just proved to myself that like, it doesn't, none of that other stuff matters. Put yourself in contention. I think I was in fourth going into that round. I had no even thoughts about winning the event. I just wanted a good finish and just get to Sunday and play your game. And for me, that's make putts. And yeah, so I don't think, again, I think after that week, I was the same dude. I just had a 2X next to my name, but it didn't really change how I thought about where I ranked against the other players. I didn't all of a sudden become a different player after one day.
Okay.
It was just something that I could really like be proud of and look back on and kind of, I felt honestly, because I know my career is winding down and I want to, I want some other things in life. I want to, have a family and be home with my wife. And so it was something to where it felt like I could not win another tournament. I could not cash in another tournament and I could be proud of those two things.
Yeah.
So
I would say so.
Yeah.
Well, that would have a perfect transition. I couldn't have set it up any better myself. So as I said, as an older player trying to mentor, I don't know if that's the right word. That's maybe too lofty, but with the younger players, my suggestion would be find yourself a smaller up and coming disc company. Like be a big fish in a small pond, not a small fish in a big pond, and get with a smaller company that you think has a bright future, and build and grow with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not suggesting who that company might be, but there's some good options out there. I approached you about throwing Stokely discs.
Yes.
What was your first thought? You hadn't thrown the discs yet.
I hadn't thrown the disc yet. I think my first thought was, let's see how they fly.
Fair.
I'm not gonna, work with a company or a bag of discs that I have no idea what it does or how it feels or if I can trust it. And
For
so
sure.
I just wanted to kind of see how they flew and how they felt in the hand, and if it was a disc that I would, that would earn a spot in my bag.
Okay. Now, I don't want to talk, believe it or not, too much about the discs because I wanted this to be more about you personally.
Mm-hmm.
I want my people to get to know you. I actually have a lot of people that follow me that don't follow the tour as much, especially an older audience.
Yeah.
I just have this I'm kind of on my little island in a way,
Mm-hmm.
with my audience. And so I want them to get to know you because it's important to me. Like, no one's going to be representing Stokely Discs that doesn't represent the values that I have about growing the sport. I don't care if it's a cliche term at this point, growing the sport, promoting it in a positive way, doing things the way I think they should be done, which is why I want people to get to know you. I have so much respect for you as a human. I don't care how good you are at throwing a disc, James. If I didn't like you, this wouldn't be happening. But you threw the discs. We'll talk about a bunch of those other discs later because I know that you generally thought they were all good.
Yeah.
But there was one that stood out.
Yes.
And which disc was that?
That was the Lark.
The Lark, which is our slightly understable. I mean, when we throw at full speed, it's probably very understable. But for the casual league player, it's a slightly understable, straight flying fairway driver.
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Well, as I said before, I'm a hyzer flip guy. And so, when I can throw a disc on hyzer and let it kind of stand up and do some work for me, and in the Lark's case, break left to right, that's a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy throwing that line. I enjoy that shot shape. And so, for me, it was kind of that fun to throw aspect that I really enjoyed about it. I thought it was at lower arm speeds, and I can, take some off, do a standstill, whatever the case may be. But I found it to be workable. I found it to be fun to throw, and somewhat controllable for some of those understable discs tend to be a little bit less controllable. And so, with the Lark, I found that it was easy to kind of repeat the line and repeat the shot shape, and I play disc golf to have fun. I'm the type of guy that, even in a tournament, maybe not a pro tour, but an A tier, B tier, I'm going to take that fun line, even if it's less percentage or, whatever the case may be. I'm here to enjoy myself. And so, I had fun throwing it, and, that's kind of why I went with it.
Okay. So, I have been teasing for the past week about these really fancy looking discs and what's so special about them. We got a big announcement because we are now, Stokely Discs is producing a molding process we called contrast plastic. Everything you see in contrast discs is in the mold, they're not dyed. And every single Stokely disc will eventually be released in contrast plastic. It's like the thermoplastic, but it's that next level of the art that people now love so much in their golf discs. They want stuff that looks pretty, doesn't just fly pretty. With our contrast discs, you are not going to be able to buy a contrast disc, at least not as of now, that doesn't have a player attached to it. And that player is going to get paid when you buy those discs. Not exactly an original business model. This is the way it's done with a lot of the tour discs. But the difference is that we're not just doing it with a custom hot stamp. This is a disc, a type of disc you cannot buy without simultaneously supporting the player that's throwing it. It's not going to be available in stock, again, at least not as of now. Who knows what the future holds? But for now, the only way you're going to be able to buy a contrast Lark is you're going to go to a local retail store and ask them if they carry contrast discs from Stokely Discs. If they do, we always want you to shop local first. Support your local pro shop, private course owner. Always shop local and support the local entrepreneurs. Help them grow the sport, make the sport more fun for you. But if they don't carry that disc, you can go to StokelyDiscs.com and you want to show the James Proctor Lark for the very first time ever.
Boom.
Yep. And these come in a wide variety of colors. We call them, internally we call them wing discs because the wing's a separate color stamp. But this is all in the plastic, you guys. This is so exciting for us because nowadays you can't even just make great plastic discs if you want to be at the next level. So yeah, so if you want to get a James Proctor Lark, go to StokelyDiscs.com to buy it after you ask your local retail store if they carry contrast discs. But if they don't, StokelyDiscs.com, support James Proctor. More important, throw a disc that's going to be good for your game.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be shooting a bunch of stuff with James this week. We're going to talk a lot more about different discs, of course. I want a bag full of them. Obviously, we don't have a full lineup. Don't expect you to throw all of our discs. In fact, I only want you to throw the discs that organically fit into a slot in your bag.
Yeah.
So I don't want any more than that. But we can still do disc reviews and talk about discs that do different things. But we're going to talk about the discs throughout the week. This was all about James. And James, I couldn't be any happier to have you part of this, man. I'm doing something that's the biggest thing I've ever done in disc golf, and Dallas Garber and you are the first two primary members to be a part of it. And we have a whole bunch of other players waiting in the wings on our regional teams. We have regional teams, we have a junior team, and we have all sorts of different teams. I've been waiting to announce them because I wanted to announce you first.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, no, this is big news. We got Dallas Garber going on tour next year. We got James Proctor, who's we're on the opposite ends of the career. So you're not at the end,
Yeah.
and he's been playing for a while, but he's entering the tour, and you are looking towards other things in life.
Totally.
So it's like perfect, man. We got two different markets I'm going after, right? Right. I always say work smarter, not harder. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.